So I missed something before. Who's gonna operate this? Go back. You go back? Yeah, let's. Max-Planck. Okay, we go back. Yeah, go back. From the top. Okay. On the 5th of November 2000, the funeral of Emperor Haile Selassie took place in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This was 25 years after his death on the 27th of August 1975. This was 25 years. More accurate historically would be this was 25 years after the Derg announced that he had died. That's what we should say. Yeah. We shouldn't say as historians after his death. That's important. That's impartial. Somebody said he's dead, so we say yeah. But did we know he's dead? That's why you have to write your own history. People write Ethiopia's history from their point. Oh, there's so many things I've heard in Ethiopia. It's not quite what they were saying. So you were here. You didn't see him. You just know the government said that's it, and everybody said all right. That's the history.
Our people know better. Our church know better, but them keep it into secret. Even it's the pillar of the church. 5 secrets. But
a big man never dies.
This Verena's voice, huh?
Is this the footage from the German Max-Planck Institute footage?
Yes.
And to emphasize a bit what the Nazarene said, let the dead bury the dead.
You know, maybe the audience might get boring unless it is really Christian pay-per-view, inshallah.
This is the funeral that I never went to. I was living in Olympia.
His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, the 225th sovereign after Menelik I, son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, the King of Kings of Ethiopia, is officially entombed. Is this also true for the Rastafarians? They worship Emperor Haile Selassie as God and Messiah, and name themselves after his first title and name, Rastafari. How do they consider this? Rastafari.
Greetings in the name of the Most High, Haile Selassie I I. Ja! Rastafari. Bajanai. Go Senegas.
If they have you on camera, but they don't know who this beautiful elder is, so they're asking you to say your name.
My name is Theophilos Edwards.
Theophilos.
Theophilos?
But the God first. Okay.
Something yes. Where did Zion come from?
Zion, yeah.
We call him Elder Zion as well. It's a man of many names.
My name is Sister Joan Douglas, known as in Shashamane as Mama Joan. I came here in 1976. I've been here over 40 years now. I think 42 years to be exact. Came from Jamaica. Through the Church of Israel. You know, it's an organization that was founded by Böll, Prophet Verena in 1960 in Jamaica. I have 6 children, all born in Ethiopia. And I have 8 grandchildren, all born in Ethiopia, which I give that thanks for.
My name is Petros Lee. I was born in Shash. My parents are from Jamaica, as usual. This is my place, it's called Bolt House. Yeah, I'm like the manager, the head chef.
I'm a member of the 12 Tribes of Israel, and we read the Bible a chapter a day. Yes.
Haile Selassie, Haile Selassie.
I am Alex Verena, owner of Zion Lodge in Shashamane, 01 Kabale. Donc, I run the lodge since 10 years now. Donc, I'm so happy and proud to be in Ethiopia, to be repatriated in this beautiful country. It was my dream, and the dream became a reality.
Me, I'm an artist, okay? My name is Jaden, and I'm from Cameroon, So my work is to sing about this, about what I see as from this continent, and the first continent where everything started.
Haile Selassie is my life,
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. He's my man, and we live every day for him.
Welcome to the Moblissa Mosque. This is my home here in Shashamane. My name is Ras Quintesseb, Kidani Meret Selassie. I'm originally born in the island of Trinidad. Came home to Ethiopia. It's now 22 years, this coronation. I came in November 1996. And I am an artist, singer, musician, composer. That's how I put over the expression of my faith here in Ethiopia.
Yes, I am Sister Ijania Christian. I am resident at the Nyabingi Theocracy Center, the Nyabingi Tabernacle Center in Shashamane, Ethiopia. And I'm very happy to be able to share my knowledge of His Imperial Majesty and what he means to me and to I of the Rastafari nation.
He started his journey from St. Thomas, Jamaica in 1964.
Yes.
He traveled to Ethiopia. Probably heard about it, Noel Dyer. That's my father.
Blessed love, give thanks for life and the mighty love giver. I'm Sister Berenice Morizot, coming from France, and I have been here for about 4 months, but it's not my first time in Ethiopia.
UK, Japan, Uchia.
Yusuke Uchiyama.
Uchiyama.
Okay. Was it Japan also? The outer Japan, hello?
Japan.
I never Rasta.
Yeah, I'm Razgion. I'm about to be 29 years old. I arrived here like almost 5 years ago. And I live in this gojo bed for 4 years and a half, cultivating my garden and serving my community.
He wants to play, I could tell you. I hope you have
I was sent to Shashamane by 12 Tribes Israel. Yeah, the 12 Tribes Israel from Trinidad.
Tobago?
No, from Trinidad and Tobago. And it's been 1 year. Well, I think the next month will make a year since I'm here. I really love and enjoy Shashamane. I mean, God blessing is here, And you haven't failed me since I've been on this journey, I'll give a song that Sister Ajana really like and help me with him writing it too, huh?
እሺ አሁን ያለንበት ቦታ በኦሮሚያ ክልል በምዕራብ አርሲ ዞን ሻሸመኔ ወረዳ ልዩ ስሙ መልካወዳ በተባለ አካባቢ ነው። አሁን ያለንበት ቦታ የቅድስት ኪዳነ ምሕረት ደብረ ጽጌ ቤተክርስቲያን ቅጥር ግቢ ውስጥ ነው። ይህ ቦታ ታሪካዊ ቦታ ነው። እንደሚታወቀው ታሪካዊነቱም በጥንት ከ1928 እስከ 33 እንደ ኢትዮጵያ አቆጣጠር ሀገራችን በተወረረበት ሰዓት ለሀገራችን የተጋደሉ የሞቱ አባት አርበኞች እዚህ በአጼ ኃይለ ሥላሴ እንዲሰፍሩ ወይም እንዲኖሩ የተደረገና የተሰጣቸው ቦታ መሆኑ አንዱ ታሪካዊ ያደርገዋል። በተጨማሪም በሌላ በኩል ከዚህ ማዶ ከወንዙ በስተጀርባ ራስታፋሪያንስ የሚባሉ ከካሪቢያን ማለትም ውጪ የመጡ እነሱም እዚህ ቦታ አጼ ኃይለ ሥላሴ ቅድም እንደገለጽኩት በሳቸው አማካኝነት እዚህ ቦታ እንዲያርፉ ወይም ቦታ ተሰጥቷቸው እንዲኖሩ ተደርገዋል። ለዛም ረጅም ዓመት ነው ያው ከዛሬ ኦልሞስት ወደ 40-50ዎቹ ዓመታት በፊት ነው እዚህ የመጡም በጣም የተወሰኑ ውስን ነበሩ። በአሁኑ ሰዓት ግን እነሱን እየተከተሉ እነሱን እየመሰሉ ከጀርመን ከተለያዩ ሀገሮች ከጣሊያን የመጡም አሉ። ግን የመጀመሪያዎቹ ጀማይካ ናቸው። እነዚህ ሰዎች ጀማይካ ናቸው። ስለዚህ ኃይለ ሥላሴ ይህንን ቦታ ሰጥቷቸው እስካሁን ድረስ እየኖሩበት ነው ያለው። ያ ቦታ የጀማይካ አካባቢ ይባላል ወይም ራስታፋሪያንስ አካባቢ ይባላል። ራስታፋሪ ያው በግልጽ እንደምናውቀው ታሪካዊ እንትን ያላቸው ናቸው እና እንግዲህ የዚህ አካባቢ ታሪካዊ ዳራ ወይም ሁኔታ ይህን ይመስላል።
So we hold fast to the knowledge of the living I, represented in the person of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I. That is the spirit that gives life to what we think, say, and do, especially here in Shashamane land. Because this is again another instance of foresight. You understand that at some point these people who are taken away are going to want to come home, some of them at least. It remains, Shashamane land grant remains the only example on the African continent of land granted by an African ruler for the black peoples of the world. You know how significant that is? We wish the others would catch up, would wake up perhaps, and then catch up. And I say that with great love for this continent as my mother.
When I came to Ethiopia in 1976, was wearing oregano and green hats. Ethiopia was saying, oh, that's the Jamaican flag. They didn't recognize it was the flag of Ethiopia. Some of the local people. But now I'm seeing everybody with flannery, and I'm proud because I'm happy because we have been doing this for many years. You know, so we love Ethiopia too much.
ここにこの全体の国来る来て、いやそれはやっぱりハイレセラシエがこの地にで生まれたっていうのもあるし、そうなるべきやってんってグザビエルがそうしたんやってそれはもうそうなるべきやってん
ኃይለ ሥላሴ እዚህ
もうそうなるべきやって
እንደዛ መሆን ያለበት ነገር ነው።
ラスタはここに
ራስታ እዚህ መኖር አለበት
来るはずやしあるはずや
እዚህ መምጣት አለበት እዚህ መኖር አለበት
でもここにラスタがいてへんかったら意味変わんねん今からメディカルマリファナの時代なんで今あっこはアスファルトはチャートの店やけどあとアムスターメットで
ጫት ብቻ አይደለም
ガンジャビチャになんねん。
ガンジャビチャよな。
メディカルマリファナが流行ってみんなここでマリファナ売り出す。チャートダメ、チャートダメ。今度コシャシャマネーじゃないねん。
コシャシャマネーሳይሆን
ジャジャマネー。
ジャジャマネー。
コシャシャマネーじゃないねん。
Man from Angola, Shashamane. Oh, South Africa, you're gathering in Shashamane. Welcome to the gathering in Shashamane. Big strength to the gathering in Shashamane. All African, welcome to the gathering in Shashamane.
I like to tease that there are only two kinds of people in the world. Those who know His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I, as the living eye, and those who don't.
We don't consider ourselves as religious people. We don't claim to be a religion. It's more way of life. Way of living, way of thinking, of behaving, than religion. Because we don't have no pope, we have no bishop, no deacons, not such organization structure and things, Because Rasta is very recent, very new in this world, Rasta started in the 30s with the coronation of His Majesty in Jamaica.
You will find a lot of point of view and a variety of understanding and interpretation about who the man is. But basically, he is the inspiration for all of us, I couldn't have a statement on who Haile Selassie is for the Rastafarian, but we have his name, Rastafari, some call us Rasta. As a matter of fact, we as Rastafari or Rastafarian, although I don't really follow that kind of name, We just keep the legacy going on. Yeah.
Actually, I give thanks and praises in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I, and that alone tells you something of I relationship with that man. And we also give praises to His Empress Menen, because as you know, Haile Selassie means power of the Trinity. For us, the Trinity is not three male persons, but the father, the mother, and the child, which is the basis of the African family. And we know that we must ensure that the family and the power of the African family is never lost.
So His Majesty was a divine inspiration. He was an eternal guide to I because he was a man who stood up to Mussolini, and it's the same Roman Empire. We fight in Roman Catholicism. So it is that spiritual connection that embodies I within His Majesty and the fullness as a conqueror.
In Shashamane, in the Nyabingi Tabernacle Center, as is usual with the Nyabingi order, we observe many holy days associated with the persons of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen. And we also recognize the holy days in the Ethiopian calendar. Many of them, not all of the church holy days. We've just finished celebrating on November 2nd. We celebrated on the 1st and the 2nd the coronation, the anniversary of the coronation, the 83rd anniversary of that momentous occasion that took place on November 2nd, 1930. And it is of great significance to Rastafari because His Majesty created new tradition and set a precedent by having his empress crowned in the church in the same ceremony as himself, and not 3 days later in the palace as used to be the custom. This is very empowering. His Majesty is saying, you are the empress, your role, your place is on that throne beside my own. And we're talking about not just a merciful and compassionate God, but a wise one.
His Imperial Majesty, the King of Ethiopia. My view towards is that the way our parents teach us and told us and taught us is that He's the King of Kings, From Christ, He came in that character of Christ, so it's not that we worship Haile Selassie as a God, but we know that He's the King. When we read the Bible told us, Israel is never short of a prophet, neither a king. So that's why we love Haile Selassie as a king, because he came to Jamaica. He's the one who brought us here to Ethiopia. If it wasn't for the king, His Majesty, we'd still be in bondage, we black people.
As a person who comes from a Rastafari family, as well as a community, you know, it's very impossible. And knowing the impact that Haile Selassie is to my father, you know, and I am my father's offspring, so I have the same energy, it still flows, you know. So I don't accept, you know, people may say, oh, it's the 21st century, how could you say this man don't die, he's just a king, but just like Sister Ijania had said earlier, there are two people in the world, one that knows Haile Selassie and the other that doesn't know.
The picture that you get, Haile Selassie is a great man, but even him, he says that, you know, he believes in God, that he follows Jesus Christ, and he knows that Jesus Christ is our Savior. So if we believe in Haile Selassie and the things that he says, we need to listen to what he says. And he's telling us we can be good, Christ-like. That's what we strive to be. We all want to be like Christ. And His Majesty came very close. But he's not Christ and he's not God.
But Rasta is Rasta. You know, I'm a Rasta disciple. I'm a Rasta followers. You know? Haile Selassie is my king. You know, he's my Messiah. As the brethren say, he's our Christ. Black Christ, by the way. You know, so proud as a black man to have a black Christ, man. You know, I don't believe in a white Jesus. No. At all.
Haile Selassie is God. He's the creator of Rastafari. He's the creator of everything. The shoes you have, the pan you have, the clothes you have, everything you have, Haile Selassie created it. Everything for man. Haile Selassie is a Babajano. He's a Babajano. That is good. That is my father, but Rastafari the first. King Rastafari.
You see, this is a difficult question for me to answer because it is a question based on the presumption that he's gone and is therefore only to be remembered. I am not in the business of remembering. I am in the business of living and learning from the example set by His Majesty so that he will never go. He will never actually ever leave us.
And I remember when I was just a little kid, like growing up, back in the time, like I could vividly remember that they said Haile Selassie was dead, and it was on the news. It was in almost when the dirt was getting out, I guess. And my father was so, like, you know, so vexed, like he was in his wrath, like, you know, Haile Selassie didn't die. Like, how could they say that?
Yeah, we don't consider this death. This death thing is a different meditation of man. We come to live as man. Selassie, I God, we live to eternity. Tomorrow is a star in the sky. But this death thing, no, that is not. That is what you see they try to embed in your head. Yeah, so you will not respect creation. Creation have no death. Creation is ever living. Yeah.
Just a talk from a government who, as my brother who wrote the book Agony in the Palace said, when he heard of it, as an Ethiopian in prison at the time under the Derg, he heard it in the Derg time, you know, that they discovered in a mass grave a skull that resembled Haile Selassie's, and that therefore they told the people. And he, as an Ethiopian, pack of lies. They just tell lies, man. You can't believe nothing. They got these old bones, which the Derg had said they had found. So it's all, it turns out it's all rumor. The Derg says we've got some bones. To me, logically, if the Derg who would want to change the whole culture, religion, social and political setup of Ethiopia, you want to come off 3,000 years of history or more, you're going to say, this man, king, who we revere as our father or divinely sent, Seum Xavier Medani Alan, is in the religion. So king is in the religion of Ethiopia. To change from king, you have to change the religion. Because the Orthodox Church tells us that the conquering line of the tribe of Judah must sit on the throne one day as the Christ himself. The Bible tells us that. So the Orthodox Church of Ethiopia organized their church and their history for thousands of years to try to fulfill that prophecy. By doing what? Keeping the bloodline of David and Solomon. Because that's the criteria. Written in the scriptures, the Holy Scriptures. So Ethiopia is the only place that has that. So to deny all that, you would at least have to bring out the head of the man who you just cut off and you're replacing him and show to the nations and the world that he is now no longer a living, roaring lion. He is now a dead dog. He's not, we've killed him. He doesn't exist anymore. He can't be all that divine manam. Just like they killed Christ. They did it publicly. And they humiliate him and put him and to show he can't be such a great God after all. Look what we can do to him. And it was suspicious to the world councils, to the world governments, because I think even Germany is one of the people who they sent a team of experts here, osteoporotists, or how you call the bone experts. They said when these bones were discovered, a few nations said if this is really Janhoi, this kind of man, we have to know, to show that it's really him, to honor that he's done it. So I heard that before coming to live in Ethiopia. Coming to check this bone structure that they were claiming was Janhoi, they didn't even have to go as far as DNA tests or anything like that. Because in measuring simply this bone here, this tibia, it's called, from the knee to the ankle, they found it was a man that was way taller than the height that Janhoi is known to have been, you know?
I just see it as a big mess and a big, just a big joke, Me, I think that if you don't have a body, you don't have a dead person,
But as an Ethiopian, if I as an Ethiopian, looking at that matter, the doctor, whose name had signed the death certificate, according to the government at that time, the Derg, afterwards denied that he was anywhere near there. Said no, that he never signed any death certificate.
A big man never dies.
Well, this is what I'm saying to you. We know the stories because we always follow anything to do with His Majesty. We know that several sets of bones were found. We know that one set were too short and the other set were too long. We know those stories. And then a set was eventually buried. And I believe the intention was to bury His Majesty. But you're talking to Rastafari as a living eye. His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I and Her Majesty Empress Menen, they not only live, but they reign within I and I hearts.
These things are very much a living history. Is the best example I've got of it is from a Batawi who came here in Shashamane. And he told a group of school students who were asking him about Rastafari. And he said, you all don't know anything about the emperor. He said, Janhoi is living right now in Lalibela. Go to Lalibela, see if they have, because this is what I'm hearing now, that the youths rising up in Lalibela with their dreads will tell you of the man who comes there every year or 2 years to certain feasts and festivals and appears to them. Pictures are appearing on the internet of this man. So we have to check out those things.
The man from India, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I too. It's
His Majesty in 1981. In England.
The procession.
Yeah, big ceremony. He sees His Majesty there. And after he say, he meet His Majesty. His Majesty said to him, I was want to build the how you say that?
Emperor Haile Selassie I, his name
The kingdom of God in the earth.
ruled as emperor for 44 years, from 1930
And he said,
to
divine mind
1970.
never die. Rasta is not color. The color of Rasta is unity, this color.
So from the beginning, from birth, he's been testified of. And now they say he's dead and blah, blah. They can't prove one peep. One peep. As you said, it's for the family. It's for the Ethiopian culture that we've cried for him. We've done things and just. But to take it to the next level, you know, the level that we say we have the faith, we read it in our Bible, we believe that Christ, take it to even think in those levels now. It's Rasta who's pushing that. Only Rasta too. Only Rasta. We have to keep our zeal, we have to keep some level of integrity that we can represent these ideas. You know, to, first of all to Ethiopian, to African in general, to world.
So when we talk about peace and love and justice, and these things are reflected in the teachings of His Majesty that we know through his speeches and so on, that we study as a third testament, so to speak. So this is who His Imperial Majesty is. Remarkable as a man, even without that spiritual interpretation. Haile Selassie commanded a world stage and still manages to do so. That is why you're in Shashamane talking to me right now.
Eines schätze ich an Sie besonders. Und das ist die Tatsache, dass die Rastas leider Gottes inzwischen einer der wenigen Institutionen sind, die noch einen panafrikanischen Glauben haben. Das ist ja fast vergessen. In Afrika sehe ich das nicht mehr. Wenn ich da an meine eigene Schulzeit denke, ich möchte Ihnen sagen, 1963 wurde die Organisation der Afrikanischen Einheit in Addis Abeba gegründet und es gab ein Spiel auf der deutschen Schule. Man ging auf einen äthiopischen Schüler hin und sagte, woher kommst du? Natürlich wohlwissend, woher? Sagte, ich bin Äthiopier. Kriegte eins auf drei. Falsche Antwort. Was wäre die richtige Antwort gewesen? Ich bin Afrikaner.
Haile Selassie, he worked to make this continent together, you know, Africa together, you know, and that's the best thing he do, because he creates some place where African people can meet and talk together, and you know, see the solution to make ourselves to unite, you know, and Haile Selassie do that. You know, no one do before him. No one do after him.
We not come to fight no tribal war. We don't understand this tribal domination. That is one thing with the colonial experience. They took all of us of different tribes and nations and put us on one slave ship. So you see, when you reach where we reach here, you won't study whether you're from the Congo, you're from the Ethiopia, or you Oromo. All of us had to become one people. So most of us who come from the Caribbean, that is the only experience, you know. We is one people, one heart, one harmony.
እኔ በበቀለ እባላለሁ የዚህ የሀይለ ሥላሴ መታሰቢያ ማህበር የፕሮግራምና ስኮላርሺፕ ኃላፊ ነኝ።
እኔ ንጉሴ አምቦ እባላለሁ የግርማዊ ቀዳማዊ አፄ ኃይለ ሥላሴ መታሰቢያ ማህበር ዋና ስራ አስኪያጅ።
ሊቀ ካህናት አባይና አበበ የግርማዊ ቀዳማዊ አፄ ኃይለ ሥላሴ የቦርድ ሰብሳቢ። የተመለከተ ከመንግስት የተወከሉ ሰዎች ነበሩ፣ የመንግስት ተወካዮች እና ከኛ ጋር ደጃዝማች ወልደ ሰማያት ገብረ ወልድ፣ እኔ፣ ጀነራል ግርማ መንግስቱ፣ አቶ ጎርፉ ገብረ መድኅን ሆነን ይህን በተመለከተ ከመንግስት ጋር እንናገር ነበር። መግለጫው እንግዲህ ቀዳማዊ ሥላሴ እንግዲህ ለኢትዮጵያ፣ ለአፍሪካ ጥቁር ህዝቦች፣ ለዓለምም ብዙ ታላላቅ ነገሮችን አበርክተዋል ነው የምንለው እኛ። ይህ መታሰቢያም የተቋቋመላቸው ያንን መሰረት ባደረገ መልኩ ነው።
ልዑል በእደ ማርያም መኮንን አጥር ያለ ንግግር ያደርጋሉ።
ይህ ማሳረፉ በተሳካ ሁኔታ እንዲፈጸም ዘወትር በጸሎት ከጎናችን ያልተለያችሁ ኢትዮጵያውያን በሙሉ ጎኗ የማይለየው የኢትዮጵያ ሕዝብ አምላክ እንዲከፍላችሁ እንመኛለን።
Abone Paulus, das muss man sagen, ihm haben wir sehr viel zu verdanken. Er hat mit dem Ganzen eine Aura gegeben, die einfach nicht möglich wäre, wenn die Kirche nicht mit vollem Pomp da gewesen wäre. Dass diese Jugend zum ersten Mal sehen konnte, was die äthiopische Flagge bedeutet. In einer Zeit, wo das Staatsoberhaupt, das war genau um diese Zeit, um 2000, offiziell verkündet hat, das ist schon eine Flagge, es ist nur ein Stück Stoff und nichts weiter. Und wie Sie gesehen haben, dass der Sarg in den äthiopischen Farben bekleidet war, dass die alte äthiopische Fahne mit dem Löwen überall wehte. All das hat eine Art Patriotismus wieder erweckt, was wir brauchen. Wir brauchen in Äthiopien das unter dem Motto Einheit in Verschiedenheit und Verschiedenheit in Einheit.
ምን መሰለህ አንደኛ እነሱ አምላክ ናቸው ባይ ናቸው እግዚአብሔር ናቸው ባይ ናቸው በዚህ እምነታቸውና በዚህ ግንዛቤ አስተሳሰባቸው ላይ ደግሞ በዚያን ጊዜ ልክ የእነሱን እንትን አድርጎ ይሄንን የቀብር ስነ ስርዓት ዋጋ ለማሳጣት ጎን ለጎን የሚናፈሱ እንትኖች ነበሩ። አንደኛ አጽማቸው ዳሎል ላይ ተገኘ ዛታ ተገኘ እንዴት ሁለተኛ ሳይመረመር ያልሆነ እንትን ወስደው እንዲህ ያደረጉ የኛ ደግሞ በሕይወት ዘመናቸው በነበሩበት ወቅት የነበራቸውን ገጽታ ከጥርሳቸው ከአፍንጫቸው ከሙሉ እንትናቸው ሌላው ደግሞ አልባሳታቸው አብሮ የተገኘው እንደዚሁም ደግሞ ዋናው እሳቸው ሕይወታቸው ካለፈ በኋላ ቀብሩ የተፈጸመበትን ቦታ ቀብሩን የፈጸመውና ያስፈጸመው ክፍል በአካል ተገኝተው እዚህ ነው ብሎ በማሳየቱ እዛ ላይ ቁፋሮ ሲደረግ ያው ትክክለኛ ከዚህ ይሄንን እንደገና ወስደህ ሌላ
ይሄንን ቀብር ያዘጋጀው ኒውራል ፋውንዴሽን ናቸው። ኤግዛይል ላይ ያለው እንትን ፋሚሊና ቸርች ነው። እንዲሁም ደግሞ ራስተፋሪያንስ ይላል። ከየት ተገኝቶ ራስተፋሪያንስ ካቋቋሙት ውስጥ የሚያሰው ማን ነው? ይሄን እንትኑና ቀብሩን እንዲቀበሩ ያዘጋጀው ማነው ነው? ሁለተኛው ደግሞ ሁልጊዜ ሂስትሪና እምነት የተለያየ ነገር ኢየሱስ እኛ ተነስቷል ብለን እናምናለን። አልሞተም ብለው ይሁዳዎች ገና አልመጣም ብለው ያምናሉ። ሙስሊሞች ነብይ ነው እንጂ ኮንትሮቨርሻል ነው። ሁልጊዜ እምነትና ታሪክ የተለያየ ነገር ነው። ስለዚህ እነሱ በሚያምኑበት መንገድ ይሄዳሉ። የታሪኩ ሀቅ ግን ይሄ ነው እና ትንሽ ሁልጊዜ ኮንትሮቨርሻል ከመሆን አይድንም። ይሄማ ዓለም እንዲሆን ነበር ኮንትሮቨርሲ ባይሆን። ስለዚህ በሃይማኖትና በታሪክ መካከል ሁልጊዜ ውዝግብ ስለሚኖር እነሱ በሃይማኖት በኩል እምነት ነው። እምነት ደግሞ ራስን አሳልፎ የሰጠ ነገር ነው። እኛ ደግሞ የታሪካቸውና በታሪክ ላይ የተመሰረተና በተገኘው እውነት ላይ የተመሰረተ ነው። ስለዚህ ማስታረቅ አዳጋች ነው በጣም።
Also, Sie waren da. Es hat mich gewundert, bei aller Liebe, denn Sie verneinen ja die Tatsache, dass er tot ist. Und wenn Sie sie gefragt hätten, hätten Sie gesagt, ja, weil sein Name wieder genannt wird, weil hier an ihn gedacht wird, deshalb sind wir gekommen. Aber keiner würde Ihnen sagen, die sind zum Begräbnis des Kaisers gekommen.
The coronation, everyone was there. You know, so everyone was seeing and respecting over the world. So why this kind of coronation? It's only Ethiopian people. You know, you don't see like people, the world, like okay, it's very true. You know, so when I see that and the time they make this, it was like what they say, long time. So if they take it long time, why they don't do it like on that time? Why they do it now, 2000? No, 2000. Man, doesn't make sense. That's no African culture. If you bury someone, it's the time. It's not like you're gonna wait for 20 years. No, this is Africa. It's the same. So this is just okay. They want to close something.
Yeah, they want to make a symbolic.
So let's close this, you know, and people are gonna see.
It's sad. It's very sad because they have a lot of people around, and everybody thinks His Majesty was inside. You know. Yeah. Donc it's very sad because it was their his people, you know, and they don't believe at us, you know, like us. So the only things I seen, and I was happy to see that, to see all the elders very sad, you know, and with tears, you know, because they liked him, you know, they know him, they knew him very well, that's why. But it's sad to see they follow the rest of the people around.
Donc, for me, this funeral looks like very, very funny, and even for me, my deep opinion, it's a disaster. I see the Ethiopian Orthodox Church Tower participating in that. Make me sad, really. Make me sad because they're supposed to support, you know, faith, hope, you know, and charity.
In general, the Rasta people who in Ethiopia, in other words, in general, Rasta didn't go to that burial. One or two individuals did, that I know. But what I want to I would love if someone who, like yourself, who's put in your mind to this point, would investigate, because I've heard reports from a few people who were there that the moment came when there was an embarrassment at that burial. Because when they put the coffin with the supposed bones of the deceased emperor into the slot into which it is supposed to, the mausoleum type arrangement, that the coffin couldn't fit. Do you know about this, right? So it couldn't fit in. And they had to put up a big screen. So I say it was like an embarrassment. They had to put up a screen so people couldn't see while they dug it out to make the coffin fit. So that fits in with the premise that the coffin was too long and that the bones were not the bones of the king, which is perfectly measured to fit into that thing from a long time ago. Ethiopians are expert in stone. There's no mistake about the length of the coffin and fitting it there. That's an impossible mistake. The family of His Majesty are very happy that the Rasta movement kept alive and never moved from promoting and reminding of the glory of His Majesty as an individual and as a ruler and as a great man in world affairs in this time. And moreover, as a Messiah, as the Messiah. So they will take the political, they want to take the glory, but they don't want to acknowledge him in that spiritual light. I'm speaking of the family now. to the extent that I do. So that's where the little difference goes. So they are the ones, this is now the information I got living here in Ethiopia, who really pushed for that burial. Because exactly as you say, it's a shame like if a man doesn't have a burial officially. And for Rasta, I were more riding on that. The coronation, there's a coronation, but there's no burial. That's one of the Rasta talk. There's no burial of the king.
Oh, it is a family, I can fully agree with that, you know. Them, the one who even today are still bringing more evidence that Haile Selassie is dead. Even them have buried him, them still have to find new ways, new documents, investigate, spend a lot of money to get in some, what you call, archives, even to produce forgery. Unbelievable, you know, if I tell you little knowledge I have about this. I love every human being, so for me they're not different than other human beings, but for sure for them is the main issue to bury Ababajanho, you know, because they have pretension to go in the throne. To go in the throne, there is still a crown council up to today, and us we believe in revolution. We are revolutionaries, them are reactionaries, you know. So them just wait a political climate to come after we are the throne of David, and just to wait the church who have brainwashed between politics and religion, and then them come, we are the bridge between, we are Abiy Ahmed and Abuna Paulo. Some disgusting thing I don't want to see. That's why I'm sure them really agree anytime some international conference about the burial, about death of His Majesty, you know, them even promote it.
Oral document. This is oral document. A generation ላስተላልፍ የምፈልገው ነገር አንድ ነገር አለ። አባቶቻችን ለሀገራቸው ያለምንም ክፍያ ሆነስትሊ የሀገር ፍቅር ስሜት አነሳስቷቸው ያለምንም ደሞዝ ክፍያ ደማቸውን አጥንታቸውን ከስክሰው እቺን ሀገር ለኛ ቆይተዋል። አሁን የምናገኛትን ሀገር ዜን እነሱ አልፈዋል። ይህ ትውልድ ደግሞ ምንም እንኳን የጦርነት ታሪክ ሳይሆን መረከብ ያለበት ደግ ነገር ታሪካዊ የሆኑ ነገሮችን ማሰባሰብ ልማትን በጎ ነገሮችን በመስራት የነሱን ታሪክ ማስቀጠል መቻል አለበት። እና አንዱ ነገር ታሪክን ራሱ መጻፍ ታሪክን ለቀጣይ ለአፍሪካ ከዛም ለዓለም እንዲታወቅ ማድረግ ምክንያቱም ትውልድ ቀጣይ ነውና ያን የማድረግ ኃላፊነት ይጠበቅበታልና የአባቶቻችንን ፈለግ ተከትለን ይቺን ሀገር ጠብቀን በልማት በመልካም አስተዳደር በቀጣይ በጥሩ ሁኔታ ማስተላለፍ ይጠበቅበታል የሚል መልእክት ነው ማስተላለፈው ለዚህ ትውልድ።
What we learn from His Majesty is nothing is impossible. You see? Yeah, all challenges, we can just defeat them and you know, do something with all challenges. Because I don't know what I would have done if I was the king of Ethiopia at that time, you know, seeing the amount of things that you had to deal with. You know, so full respect and honor and glory, you know, to the King of Kings, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, bless. Yeah.
Whoa, whoa, oh yeah, well done. Rastafari, gathering in Shashamane, whole Africa, gathering in Shashamane. From the top, we're coming from the east. Oh. We're coming from the west, yeah. We're coming from the north and south. To the gathering in Shashamane, gathering in Shashamane, to the gathering in Shashamane, to the gathering in Shashamane, gathering in Shashamane. Oh. Oh, yeah. Shine some light, oh, Jah. Make it right, oh, teach us thy way. Don't care what no one say. Gathering in Shashamane. And we run acapella in Shashamane.
ever faithful.